Good evening. Movies. Very much the most subjective concept of the world that we live in. You either love a movie or you just seem to hate a movie nowadays. There's movies out there so bad that people just get so angry over. I mean, goodness sake, will Samurai Cop ever just get the love it deserves? That would just, one day. But today I am talking about movies that generally are just not well received, or they just didn't make great money, or just simply fans didn't like it. And it's movies that I think deserve a second chance, I think. And I always think that should always be the case. I don't think you should always watch something once. I think sometimes maybe just give it a chance and come back and watch it again. And that's what I'm talking about today. Today I am talking about 10 movies that used to be bad. Oh, why did I make these titles so long? Just here's the list. At number 10, The Lone Ranger. Now, there's no point denying at this stage of Johnny Depp's career, he very much was in the fatigue stage of that said career. And I don't know why, just for me, I just felt like it got a little bit of hate more because of that said reason. They were just like, they looked at him playing Tonto and they were like, oh god, here we go, he's playing another wacky character. And yes, you could almost argue that said case, but I think there's a little bit more to this, to be honest. To me, I think it's a fun, exciting adventure, really. I'm quite a bit of a sucker for a western, if I'm honest, and I think this movie generally did a pretty good job establishing that world, and that train sequence at the end is a pretty solid action sequence, I must say, and it's actually generally one of my favourites of recent years. So yes, I think, you know, this movie got hammered at the box office. It didn't do well with critics, and I generally think it's a movie you should give a second chance to. At number 9, Die Hard 4. Yes, when this movie came out, people, myself included actually, I must say, I really didn't like this movie at all. And then the fifth one came out. My god, does that fourth one look a lot better now. The fifth one is just god-awful in every sense of the word. But at least Die Hard 4, you kind of look back on it and kind of go, you know what, at least they were at least trying. Bruce Willis at least looks relatively alive and actually it looks enjoyable in the movie and scenes that he's in. The action scenes are pretty good. There's shots in that movie that actually became quite, I don't want to go iconic, but that shot when he drives the car into a helicopter, you'd see that every trailer for Blu-ray releases that they would do, and I don't really find myself hating the movie that much. I'm not big on the villain, if I'm honest. I think they needed someone a bit more charming, like an Alan Rickman or a Jeremy Irons. But the actual idea of, oh, they're doing cyber terrorism now, kind of modernising it a little bit, I couldn't hate it. There's not much in this movie I don't like. I think it's actually pretty enjoyable, and I think it deserves a little bit more credit. I think this got the hate of the idea of, oh, it's just another modern movie that we love the trilogy, and I'm going to say it now, I take Die Hard 4 over Die Hard 2 any day. At number 8, Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. Now I'm going to say it right now, I generally still don't think this is like the greatest movie ever made, and frankly I don't think any of these movies are. I just generally think that they deserve maybe a second chance, and I don't think they're as bad as they are. Now, a little bit of history onto this movie. Originally Arnold Schwarzenegger was chosen basically for the start of this movie, and he hated the script. He thought the script was god awful. So he phoned up his old pal Stallone, because they had a little bit of a rivalry at the time in the 90s, and he basically kind of was like saying, oh Stallone, like, I can't do this movie, but I really think you should do it. You should really go for it. Kind of obviously making him kind of going, oh, I need to do this movie because Arnold was going to do it and now he can't. And then obviously Stallone, I think, realised years later on that Arnold actually completely just chucked him in the deep end with that one. But looking back on it now, is the movie as bad as it's kind of perceived? I generally don't think so. I think it's a bit of harmless fun. If you just accept that, I think as well, I think you can get yourself quite into this movie. I think it's adorable, it's fun. You know, I think I would prefer the movie if Arnold did star in it, if I'm honest. I think he was more suited to this kind of role. I don't think Stallone's really good with the humour. But overall, again, I think give it a little second chance, give it a second watch, and I think you might just get yourself involved in the movie and just enjoy it for what it is. At number 7, Men in Black International. Now, with the Men in Black trilogy, I'm actually quite a fan of that trilogy. To me, it was the sci-fi version of Ghostbusters. It was the idea of, you know, this kind of team, and obviously in New York, and for them it was aliens, it wasn't, you know, ghosts and the supernatural kind of world and trying to keep hidden and all that kind of stuff. And I think it did really well. I love the first one. The first one was great. I don't particularly like the second one. I think the second one is a bit flat, if I'm honest. Third one I actually think is pretty good. It's got a decent plot and there's something kind of going on at least. And then we got Men in Black International. Will Smith didn't come back and neither did Tom Lee Jones. People very much believe the two strongholds of that trilogy, and I completely agree. But I just don't hate International. It didn't do great box office wise, kind of. It did actually kind of not too bad, but I think they were obviously hoping for bigger numbers. Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, I really actually like. I think their chemistry is pretty great, to be honest. I will always love Tessa Thompson in anything. I will love that woman in anything she's in, from Creed to obviously Thor into this. I think she's actually brilliant in here. And even Hemsworth, I think if he keeps doing this kind of Thor shtick, I think it's going to get a bit tiresome, I'm not going to lie. Maybe that was also a problem. People just found it a bit kind of done. Let's actually talk about the movie though, like for instance. So for some reason, people just, like, this movie got a lot of, it got panned by critics. Fans didn't like it either. But why did I like it? Well, simply because I generally just don't think it's that bad as people. Is it as great as the first and the third? No. Is it better than the second? Yes, I think it's a lot better than the second. But to me, this movie achieves what I kind of want from these kind of movies, right? So obviously, it's a sequel reboot, but it still obviously connects with the trilogy, and it does that well. It expands the world, which I also quite like. It shows us different areas of the whole MIB going to London. And I quite like that kind of stuff. I always will. And see the fact that they did actually bring back Danny Elfman's kind of music and score. It keeps that kind of themes together. There was nice bits of music where they did do that kind of such things, which I quite enjoyed. So yes, to me it was like the movie that got the kind of hit, which I don't think it really kind of deserved. And again, I think it deserves another wee watch because I think it's fun, enjoyable, adventurous, exciting. I'm a big sci-fi guy, so I always love those kind of worlds and the world building that it has, and I think it's more enjoyable than people give it credit. At number 6, Expendables 3. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this movie just didn't resonate with fans, and going to go through the history of the Expendables. Basically, the first one came out and it was generally well. It was not hugely loved, but it had its fans, and people even reviewers respected what it was. It was a bit of fun nonsense, really. And then the second one came out, it much more received better, did quite well at the box office as well, actually, to be honest. And again, it was a bit like, oh, the fans will like it, you know, if they want a bit of kind of that vigorous action and such, like, you know, they'll enjoy it. Oh, there's Chuck Norris, how exciting, you know, that kind of sort of stuff. And then the third one came out, and there was some changes. First of all, they decided not to go rated R, which fans just, you know, if I don't see blood, I don't care. That was very much their kind of attitude towards it. And the second one, which I think was actually the bigger problem, was it focused more on the younger characters. And the reason why I love the Expendables is focusing on the classic and the action legends, frankly, of the 80s and the 90s action movies. That's what I want to see. To me, the Expendables are the Avengers of the action legends. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the young ones. If I want to see that, I'll watch the Rock movies. I'll watch just Jason Statham movies and all that, and which I find quite weird when they say young and Jason Statham's like, he's like 10 years older than these guys. It's quite bizarre to me. I generally think this movie deserves a bit more credit, and I'll tell you why. I think it's actually the one that has the stronger story out of the three, if I'm honest. Also has a stronger villain, being Mel Gibson, because the guy doesn't really need to act being a villain, I guess. But it has that. I just think it's also a little bit longer as well. You've got a little bit more time with these kind of characters. Also, like Stallone in the movie as well. I think he's actually pretty good in this movie, where he feels like he's doing a little bit more than just doing action sort of thing. I always love seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger, and also one of the main things I actually like is the 4 newbies in this movie. So obviously I mentioned Mel Gibson, who is, I have to say, he is actually a pretty good villain in this movie. And then also you got Harrison Ford, who actually looks alive for once in a movie of recent kind of years, which I always said, I think if it wasn't for this movie, I don't think he would have been as good in Star Wars. I don't know why. I just always felt like that. Like, when he appears in The Force Awakens, I always felt like Expendables 3 made him kind of more alive a little bit. Antonio Banderas, another one, he is superb in this movie. He's so charming. And again, Wesley Snipes as well. The 4 new ones are just, they're very much a reason to watch this movie. And why I also like what Stallone did was he brought in new characters, and at least those 4 actually feel integral to the plot and what's kind of happening. I love Chuck Norris, but you know, he does just randomly appear and he doesn't really feel part of the actual movie, which is a bit of a shame actually, to be honest. So that's what I kind of do quite like about Expendables 3. Also, just saying right now, watch the extended cut on Blu-ray if you've got it, because at least they do change it to R-rated and there is more kind of extended stuff. And if you're into that blood and gore, I guess you've kind of got all that kind of stuff. So yes, Expendables 3. Give it another chance, and here's home for another one because I do quite like those movies. At number 5, Fantastic Four. Yeah, I think this one's going to be quite quick and quite blunt actually, to be honest. Did you see the Fantastic Four 2015? Yeah. Makes the one 2005 a lot better now, doesn't it, I guess? Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I actually quite enjoyed it. I kind of grew up with that 2005 version. I actually quite like that cast. I think actually all 4 is pretty good. I think Jessica Alba's fine. A lot of people kind of always had a big hoo-ha problem with her. I love the Thing costume. I actually think Doctor Doom costume looks is pretty good as well. Chris Evans as Human Torch is actually pretty great, if I'm honest. To me, that movie is at least kind of trying to go with what I think Fantastic Four should be. It should be a bit colourful. It should be a little bit camp. It should be fun. It should be exciting. It shouldn't be dark and miserable and boring like... No, I'm not saying Batman's boring, but in that kind of world, that's not Fantastic Four. And I really struggle to understand why they went that route. I find it very bizarre, to be honest. So at least this one does what roughly kind of generally what I would maybe kind of go for. At number 4, The Matrix Reloaded. Now, but right, this is another kind of case. You could almost argue that, have you seen the third one? Yeah, the second one doesn't look so bad, but I don't think that's always just should be an argument, really, to be honest. The first one is the best one. There is no argument over that one. I love that first one. But the second one, there's stuff in that I generally think is really quite compelling and exciting and enjoyable. I love the kind of ghost twins that there is. The chateau fight scene I love. The fight scene between Mrs. Smith and Neo, even the CGI is a bit wonky nowadays. The amazing chase sequence along the motorway is pretty impressive how they actually generally built. What was it? I can't remember. It was like a 1 mile motorway length. It was like ridiculous length of an actual basic motorway that they actually built. Was quite impressive, to be honest. I find it a little bit, it didn't deserve the extreme hate, and at least it was trying to do something rather than just doing nothing. Because there's some movies that it gets a little bit tedious of, what was the point of those 2 hours? At least, I like at least watching a movie where it might be a bit confusing or it might maybe even be a mess, but when you can at least tell the director at least was trying to do something kind of different or special or whatever, you know, I can at least respect that at least. And I think that's what's good about Matrix 2, where I think that's what you get from that movie at least. It's like, alright, I can see what they're doing, and maybe it didn't work 100%, but at least there's something here, sort of thing, and I think that's what I get mostly out of this movie. At number 3, The Wolverine. No, not X-Men Origins Wolverine, just The Wolverine, because the titles are really inventive when it comes to Fox, obviously, over there. But yes, The Wolverine seems to... It's an odd movie to me, like, but right, it didn't get hated, it didn't really seem to do that bad at box office, but it just doesn't seem to, like, find a position anywhere for anyone. I always feel it seems to be that one that just kind of floats away, and especially when Logan came out. I mean, don't get me wrong, even I prefer Logan, but like, I feel like just no one seems to appreciate the Wolverine movie, and I think that's just such a shame, because I think if it wasn't for that movie, I don't think we would have got like this different kind of Hugh Jackman Wolverine with Days of Future Past and then the Logan movie. I generally think like Hugh Jackman does something quite different with the Wolverine. He really kind of... It really just seems to even shine even more. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I didn't like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine before, but there's just something about the Wolverine where he just seems to really just... He nails it in a different kind of way. He's a bit older and he's a bit more gruffer, and I think that's what's the thing. I think that kind of helps a little bit with it. And also, the guy's some size on him, you know? But obviously I have like some kind of issues with it. I don't like the whole, you know, Silver Samurai being a giant Iron Man suit. There was no need for that. I understand why they did that, because obviously Iron Man was popular, but in the comics it's just literally a guy in a silver samurai suit, and I kind of wish they just did that, but they didn't for some odd reason. But there's obviously other stuff that I do like. I love Japan, I love that setting, I always love when that's in a movie. I always think of those good movies, and I love seeing a character, especially an American character, being dropped into, well, Canadian National, Wolverine's Canadian, but he's been dropped into Japan, and I always will love that kind of stuff. The bullet train sequence is really good, and there's actually a good solid, like, 10 to 15 minutes of just like this chase going through Tokyo and all that, and I really quite liked that, to be honest. I actually think that was pretty good, and I think this movie is just a little bit, I think it just deserves a little bit more love, this movie, and it just doesn't seem to get it. At number 2, The Last Stand. And no, not again, not X-Men The Last Stand. That will never be on a list of movies that actually are kind of good. That movie is generally bad. But The Last Stand, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, back in 2013. This was a movie where he came back after a 10-year hiatus, and he was back again. And you know what? I think he's actually pretty good in this movie. I generally would put this movie up with some honestly classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I generally think this is fun. It's his kind of style of movie. It works for him. I just think overall it's got a nice little kind of the plot and all that is actually kind of not too bad, to be honest. It's actually quite a neat kind of idea that they're kind of going with, and I just generally find Arnold Schwarzenegger really quite charming in his old kind of style, kind of humour that he kind of had, that he kind of brought back here. And I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, obviously, as you can kind of see, as I've got near enough all these movies there. And I just think this movie deserves a little bit more appreciation, because sadly his newest movies have seemed to have been really taken over with Terminator. He came back with Terminator Genesis, and then he came back with Terminator Dark Fate, which I've actually not seen yet. And yeah, it's kind of I kind of wish he would kind of just go back to doing solo, just action movies. They've got no connection with anything else. And The Last Stand is one. I didn't mind Sabotage as well, to be honest. And I just wish we had more of that. I wish he would go away from Terminator. I'm done with Terminator and him playing that. And don't get me wrong, he's actually always good when he's playing Terminator, but I just love seeing him in different roles, and I really like him in this movie, and I think I would love to see, hopefully, you know, more kind of just solo action movies on his own. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Or by rights in the UK, it's called Salazar's Revenge, for some odd reason. I have zero idea why that was a thing in the UK, and I never liked it. I never liked it whatsoever. But Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales was the 5th of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, obviously starring Johnny Depp. And this obviously came out in 2015. No, it didn't. It came out in 2017. That's when it came out. Just you saw the little guys in my brain there literally going, you just said the wrong answer, Johnny. But yes, it obviously came out in 2017. It was filmed in 2015. I remember there was a big old delay with this movie because there was such drama around this movie. I always remember the big hoo-ha with Australia, and when Amber Heard tried to bring in her dogs, and that was a big problem and all that. But the reason why this movie got hate is for one simple reason, and one simple reason only. I still believe firmly on this, is the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. When that kind of really kind of erupted, this movie came out, and this movie got the hate for it, and it got very much the heat as well. And the actual movie does not deserve it. Doesn't matter what you think about that whole scenario right now. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their business, even though it turns out Amber Heard actually seems to be a liar. But apart from that stuff, the actual movie I generally really enjoy. Javier Bardem is goddamn good as the villain in this movie. I love his design, his whole backstory, his character, his actual acting in this movie. I mean, even in bad movies, Javier Bardem is always going to be damn good in that movie. I really like actually Johnny Depp in this movie, and I'll tell you for why. There's a thing that kind of happens where he's now older now, and I actually wish they did more on it, where he sees like his bounty to have him captured, and the money's gone lower because like no one's kind of bothered anymore, no one really cares, and he feels like no one cares about it because he's like older now. He feels like that idea of, oh, the older now, no one seems to kind of care about you, and it's like, wow, that was actually really quite a nice touch, and I kind of wish they kind of kept going on that. He's like really heavy with drink, and he's really gotten quite bad with it, and God, I really wish they kind of went with that more. I mean, one of my favourite action scenes in it is when they get the bank, and they somehow manage to take the bank, and it's a great example of, you see, like, why these movies cost so much money, and they built this whole, I remember this whole kind of area where it's basically going to come near enough destroyed, them trying to drag this bank through this whole little town and all that, and it's really good, that kind of sort of stuff. And I really always like Barbossa, Jeffrey Rush's Barbossa, and obviously we know what happens to him at the end of this movie. And also the movie has a pretty damn good after credit scene, I must say, which I wouldn't really kind of say here just in case you haven't seen it, but go see it, and I kind of hope we do get another one. And I really do hope we get another one, because I never agreed with what kind of, you know, the scenarios, I guess, and all that stuff. So just watch this movie what it is, and I think honestly it's better than the fourth. I think personally, I think it's better than the third one actually, if I'm honest. I think it's the best one since the second one. I'd say that personally. So yeah, I would give my number one choice, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Telling No Tales, a bad movie for a lot of people who believe, a second chance. So that's my list of 10 movies not as bad as you remember. God, I need to stop making these titles so long, I tell you. I mean, I can barely speak English as it is, do you know what I mean? But yes, I would like to know what you guys think. What's your kind of movies that you feel is like bad and it doesn't deserve that kind of hate? Comment down below and tell me what you think. Until next time, oh my God. Amazing Spider-Man 2? You really think that you're ever going to be on a list that actually isn't as bad as it is? You're right.